Good morning, Iwona.
Good morning, Anne.
So I'm Anne from 10 to 8, and today I am talking to Iwona. She is the director of MyPAYourWay, and she runs this very successful business that helps small businesses get better organized and automate a lot of their processes to be more successful. So I will let Iwona introduce herself.
And thank you for inviting me to speak with you about the work I've been doing recently, and particularly with your 10 to 8 system. It's been a fascinating journey, and you've been at the start of it. And so it's great to be here and to share some of that with you. So in terms of my background, essentially my background is really in sales, and I worked a number of years ago for Dell Computers at a time when they were going through a huge growth and when things were constantly changing and evolving in the business. But in fact, prior to working for Dell, I in fact worked for one of their suppliers, a disk drive manufacturer, in fact. And I was a sales support administrator there, and I was having to schedule product. Now, when I was working with that organization, I received an award for rearranging their administration system and also putting in place an evaluation system. And I worked with their lawyers to prepare the documentation, and I reduced their inventory to 0. So I saved the company a lot of money. And so, you know, I made a natural transition to Dell. I was in an admin capacity and worked my way into sales. And I think through the fact that my approach to sales was more than just selling, it was about listening to the problems that the customers were experiencing, because when a company is growing, the company experiences growth pains, but of course the customers also experience that as things change and communication changes and systems change. And so as I was there at a pivotal time in their growth, in the growth of the company, I was very familiar with their systems and was able to quickly identify and resolve alongside customer service and technical support where some of the problems were. So that put me in a very strong position then to be invited into inputting into the up and coming CRM system that they were developing at that point, learning from the experiences that the company were having, how that impacted the clients, as well as, you know, the frustrations it caused internally as well, because that is part of the course. That also meant that I got involved in training on systems and the induction process when new individuals join the company. I did all of this alongside my sales role, which took me all around the country. And I've eventually ended up also with my team supporting my activities over in Ireland. So I've always had an interest in resolving problems, having challenges, wanting to resolve challenging things, and having a creative mind. So when I moved across out of Dell into commercial property sector after taking a career break, I found myself in a very different environment, out of the corporate world, and then suddenly finding how very different and wide apart the two environments were, and I could see that there was value that I could add alongside being a negotiator. I transferred my skills. I was trained up into all the necessary areas I needed to be trained up in. But what I brought to the business here locally is computerizing their whole systems. And not that I did it personally, but I was pivotal in all of that happening. You know, they had one word processing system, and as anyone will know, any surveying practice is paper-based. And even today, you know, these systems, be that legal or surveying, there's still, and even in the healthcare sector, there's still an awful lot of paper that is generated and has to be maintained. But what I did is I brought into that efficiency, and I developed processes and systems and improved the services through implementation of technology, because I came out of that environment, and the benefits obviously we all know about because it's there, it's mainstream now, isn't it? So that led me, sorry.
But from the
From the
background,
background,
we
we
see
see
that
that.
you're not a typical IT consultant.
No, I'm not. I'm not per se trained as an IT person. I'm not someone who's sat in technical support. I can build computers, I can take washing machines apart, but my main thing is that I have a good eye for finding solutions because I understand the processes and I understand it, and I work to understand what it means for the users. That could be within the company, what their needs are, but also what the impact is on the outside world, on an individual looking in and making contact with the company, because those two things have to work in synergy. And so whilst I have a technical understanding, it is very conceptual. I wouldn't be able to tell you about ASCII files and how that is all hung together. I'm not worried about that. That's for somebody else. But I do know how to go about and how to resolve situations. And so the purpose of what MyPA is offering is not just an admin support service as a typical PA or administrator or secretary. Yes, I can do all of those things, but I actually look at what the process is and how effective that is, and whether it is cost effective as well as streamlined, and if all the information is actually flowing and communicating together and in sync, because those are the areas that cause small businesses an awful lot of waste of time and resources and money, taking up valuable time away from developing their business. And so that is essentially what I'm about. I'm about really helping businesses to continue growing whilst taking care of, yes, the admin support services, but also at the same time looking at where there can be improvements made to what they're doing in order to optimize efficiencies.
Good. And oops. So, and you've been, one of the clients you've started to work with is a nutrition therapist, is that right?
That's right, yes.
And we're going to have a look at what she's, so could you tell us more about what she's been doing?
Yeah,
what you've been doing for her?
Came to work with her, shall I? Focus Nutrition Plus is run by a lady called Beata Rachowiecka. She's a Polish lady. She's the one, and basically it's her business, and she does everything, not just the consultations, but also the running of her businesses. So she's a one-man band. She's very highly qualified in what she does. She doesn't just do nutritional therapy. She does phytophysics and body talk and complementary therapies alongside that. And if you look at her website, you'll be able to see more about her background and, in fact, what the bodies that she's affiliated with. She's affiliated with BANT and the Complementary and Natural Healthcare Council, and she's a senior associate member of the Royal Society of Medicine. And I came in contact with her, in fact, I'm just trying to think how many years ago, about 7 years ago, when as a family we needed help and input with my son's health. And so I have had a relationship with her for a number of years. And I've been very impressed with her knowledge and how she's outstripped by far the knowledge base and experience we've had with the NHS. And that's not undermining the NHS, that's just not where their training is. And so she's been the bridge to the gap that needed to be bridged, if that makes sense. So what I've been doing with Beata is that as her work has taken her abroad more and more, and as I found myself having difficulty getting hold of her or knowing when I could get hold of her, it did make me wonder whether other people were having the same experience. And as I'd already started working with the 10-to-8, your 10-to-8 system with another client and had already started to implement it successfully, it occurred to me that that might be something that she would want to look at, which then would reduce the amount of time she had to spend on going back to clients because they were leaving messages on their answer phone, and if she was away, she couldn't get those messages unless they had her mobile number. And so what seemed from the outside world for me as a client potentially complex, I think by offering her the opportunity to look at 10 to 8, she realized that she could, in fact, continue to be mobile, continue to do all the prep work that she needed to do to meet with customers, her clients, who, some situations can be quite complex. She has to prepare for those meetings, so she has to carve out that time, as well as her continual professional development and travel. So reducing the number of calls she necessarily needs to make, and finding ways to help streamline some of her information flow is something that I started to discuss with her. And I think once we put in place 10 to 8, it was like a little light bulb going on for her, because suddenly she could see the possibilities of what she could continue doing without compromising her business, and also at the same time ensuring that she was managing information in a secure way, because that is an essential part of what she has to do in the healthcare profession. That is a very important factor. So these are all the things that we started to talk about once we were looking at the whole 10 to 8 system, and she then began to see and reap the benefits of just using the booking system, and that's now grown to something much bigger.
And you think it was an important step? Because I think a lot of people I meet, small business owners, they see technology as a kind of necessary evil, and they're often very scared of taking that first step. So did you walk her through that first step? Was that her first, was 10 to 8 helpful in that?
Yes, I think it was very helpful for her. And I have to say that Beata is not afraid of technology at all. And the thing is that she's managed her whole business set up herself, and it's really important for her to know how things run and how things are set up, so that if there is a problem, that she can identify how to resolve that, rather than being in a situation potentially late at night or when she's traveling, when she can't resolve a problem. So the thing that I did is I set up 10 to 8, and I showed just in a very basic format, and was able to, and I did this all across Skype. She had access into the account, and I could at the same time show her what I was doing, and I could see what she was doing, and I could show her all the places I could get around the system to make the changes that she wanted to make. But until she started to use it for herself, rather than let clients use it, then it really, it wasn't until then that she really began to understand the power that 10 to 8 offered her, and then the possibilities beyond that. So we took it a step at a time. Now, I know some people are afraid of technology, and particularly becoming familiar with a new platform, because it is new and it can be overwhelming for some people, and that's perfectly understandable. So what I was able to do and can do for people is handhold them through a part of that process, or I can set things up completely offline for them and let them run with it with some minimal training. It just depends on their level of availability, how much time they want to spend on it, how much they feel they have to know if something goes wrong. My other client, for example, I've done everything for him, and if there's a problem, he's straight on the phone, and I go in and I sort it out, because he actually doesn't have the time, because he's with clients at every moment of the day, and so all of his other stuff, because it's a hairdressing business, and they don't want to get involved in the technology, and they haven't got the time. So you see, I can approach it from both perspectives. It's about really understanding what they want and working with that.
That's good. And you went a lot further for Beata. You went a lot further than 10 to 8 with her.
Yes.
So once you've done that first step, and you've drawn a picture, and I think I've got it up on the screen.
Yes. Yes.
So maybe you want to walk us through, because it's I was quite impressed with that.
Well, thank you. It's still work in progress, and I'll talk you through the chart. Clearly, we've got 10 to 8 is now the hub of her workflow. And if we just take a look to the right-hand side, first of all, we are linking 10to8 up with Google Works, or, you know, for some people who don't have Google Works, it would just be Google, because Google has got the calendar sync, the calendar and the contacts. But we're working with Google Works specifically now because it offers us so much more in terms of what she needs. But if we just focus on this for a moment, if we look at Google Works, the pink icon, we go up from there, we've got in green a calendar sync. Now that calendar sync is working with the Google Calendar, which also works with 10to8, and it works both ways. And what that means is this, is that when an appointment is made through 10to8, her business appointments are automatically synced to her personal calendar, which is within Google. That means that if she's making a personal appointment, she's going for, she's traveling or whatever it might be that's not related to her business, she can input that into her personal calendar, but that time is then blocked out in her 10to8 calendar as well as in her personal calendar, and it works both ways. And in order to do that, as you can see if you follow it along at the top there, it says requires one Zap. Well, Zapier is a wonderful product which your company introduced me to. Thank you very much. And it's a fascinating and wonderful product, because what that has enabled us to do, as you can see in several places, is to use this product to link two programs together to automate a flow of a tedious task that would otherwise, on an accumulative basis, be quite time consuming. So it's time saving and money saving. So there isn't a duplication of work having to take place. She doesn't have to go into her personal diary and double check back on her business diary. It's all in one place, and the information is syncing back to 10to8. And so from that point of view, it's perfect. There's no double booking at all, and it's wonderful. And then if we drop down to the bottom on the right-hand side, again, another green box, another Zap that's been created is to ensure that she has time between appointments. If an appointment overruns or someone arrives late, or she needs a little bit of she needs a comfort break, or some time to prepare and get her notes out for the next client, that is built into and directly linked into through 10to8 and Zap and Zapier. And again, that will be reflected back out into the Google Works calendar. So you can see there's like a little loop really running there.
Yep.
And it works perfectly. And the other one, again, the green icons are the ones that are all currently up and running and functioning. And of course, your system, we all know, produces an SMS and an email, if that's the way it's been set up, for clients to receive reminders, which is perfect, because sometimes, you know, having that reminder, it makes the difference between them realizing, actually, I need to double check my diary and whether there's a problem with that appointment, and then to reschedule that appointment if necessary. Because sometimes if a reminder is not sent, those things can slip through the net, because everyone leads very busy lives and appointments can be missed. So that's now avoided. Shall I continue with the rest of the chart? So then, still focusing on the right-hand side, in the center you have a white box.
Oh,
automate spreadsheet entry. Or should
can we finish there? So I think,
yeah.
So what you've done first is you've made sure that she was happy that the technology was going to work for her business. That makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely, that's right.
You've made sure that she had her Zap added so that she could work in the way that she felt comfortable working.
Yes.
You've made sure that people got SMSs and email confirmation, and this makes sure that her business can grow because there's fewer no-shows. I would like to continue first on the business growth side and then look at the financial side, if it's okay.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So you've got two new, so what's in the white is things that you haven't quite finished doing for her. Is that right?
Yeah, the ones in the white are, this is the direction we're heading in. There's still work going on in the background in order for the implementation to go live. So, so going forwards, we've got we've set the system up so that she has an appointment that can be booked by a new client.
Yep.
And that's in the center to the left of the 10 to 8 hub. And so that will have a link to a questionnaire that new clients will receive through an email that will be triggered with the Zap. And at the moment, that will follow, the link will follow into a PDF file that can be either populated online or downloaded and dealt with on the person's computer, and then emailed back. However, the options will be there as to how they want to do it to make it as convenient as possible, because one of the issues at the moment is that if a Beata is traveling abroad, having all this information with her all the time and then having to find ways of sending it is something that needs to improve. And by holding the file in the cloud through Google Works, this email will have the link information and it can automatically be sent without her intervention. She will not need to go in and send a specific email.
Good, perfect.
And so that is a perfect solution to someone who's traveling. The next step beyond that will be to change that PDF file to a Google form in order that the information can then be done, from your telephone very easily and automatically saved, so you don't have to worry about anyone having to worry about that. But of course, if they want to download it, they can. And if someone doesn't use technology, because some people don't use technology, then all is not lost. There's still a way of getting that information across to them through snail mail. So so that's one area that we are moving towards. The questionnaire and the PDF file are up. We are now needing to implement the Zap once we've finished upgrading and moving all of her contacts across from her existing Outlook system into Google Works. And that's why the contacts on the right is in yellow, because that's work in progress at the moment.
Okay. And then you're going to add she's going to start doing some marketing.
Yes, she hasn't done many MailChimp mail campaigns recently for lots of reasons, but she has got the ability to send out mail shots through MailChimp. And one of the other things that will be done is that a Zap will be put in place to automatically add new clients onto her MailChimp mailing list. And so I'm just looking here at something, sorry. So yes, I know that works because I've already done that for the hairdresser, my hairdressing client. So it's not in green, but it ought to be, because I know that it works. And it's fantastic. Again, it's another time-saving way of ensuring that the information is there and can be worked with, but actually it's only been entered once. So that's brilliant.
And and once you've got her working on her marketing, on getting more money, then you need to manage that money with making sure that the invoicing and everything is kept up to date. So this is on the right-hand side.
That's correct. In the center, again, another white box. Now, there are different ways of achieving this. I've done it for myself personally, and I think it's fantastic. It's, I have to use the tools because it's important that I'm using them. If I'm advocating them, I need to know that they're working. And there are different ways of doing this. You can link a Zapier to 10 to 8 to populate a spreadsheet, which would be, for a small business, it's their day book, isn't it? And that would then enter the information about the client and the value of that transaction. I think the only thing that would then need to happen is that that she would have to go in manually and say whether it's been paid, when it's been paid. So although I foresee in the future, with the way that your product is developing, is that if she actually registers the option to receive payments with her appointments online through 10 to 8, then I can see that the Zap could potentially then include that element. So that's
Yeah.
one way of doing it. The other way of doing that, which isn't included here because we haven't explored the different avenues as yet, because it's not been a priority, and that is, I use Zoho Invoice, and that links up with my my spreadsheet, which is the spreadsheet within Google Works, and that's where my information becomes populated through Zoho Invoice. And so yes,
You've been really busy.
I have, yes. It's fascinating because Zapier links up with somewhere between 350 to 500 applications, cloud-based applications, and I have to say I haven't looked at them all, but I have looked at a number of them. And what's great for small businesses today is that they don't need to invest huge sums of money to have an efficiently running system. And it's about understanding their needs and finding the right tools and linking them to produce a efficient workflow. And that's really what I think my business is about. Yes, I can support them in their admin. I can do the tasks that need to be done. But I'm also interested in looking at what is the efficient way of doing that for their business. And the cloud platform is revolutionizing that, I think, for small businesses today.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's giving them tools that in the past were only ever implemented in really large businesses.
Absolutely.
And Beata, as a one-man band, she has a better organized business than many people working in much larger companies, because their IT is just much less flexible than what you have managed to do with her. So I think it's a very good example, which is why I wanted to run this interview with you, because I think, wow, this is exciting times. It's not scary. It's actually very exciting.
Mm.
And do you know, I mean, I know it's early days, but do you know, I mean, what's Beata's reaction? How's it impacted her personally and her business? Does she feel happy? Is she feeling more energized? What's her reaction?
Well, for me, it's been fantastic because my satisfaction comes out of seeing her reaction, and that is, it's like a light bulb that's gone on for her, because it just so coincides that I started to talk to her at a time when she was already reviewing her internal working practice, because she needed to do something differently so that she didn't get bogged down in lots of paperwork when she was traveling particularly. And of course, there is always going to be more paperwork in some fields than others, and this is just one of those fields. But it's how to facilitate that in terms of clients getting the information when they need it, clients being able to get in contact with her or change appointments more easily, because unless they have their mobile, and not everybody will have her mobile number, then it's down to leaving a message on an answer phone and not knowing when she's going to be back. But things have changed, all for the positive. You know, her email now will send a message out to clients if they email her saying, I'm not available until X date or time. So all of these things have changed since we've started to work together in order to, I think, for her to streamline what she's doing and to improve that communication with the clients, as well as internally for herself.
That's great. I think
it's very rewarding personally, you know, to see that that's having such a positive impact, and it will continue to as she moves forward. As I say, I am hand-holding her a lot of the time, which is absolutely fine, because she needs to know and wants to know how things are hanging together. But there will be some things that I know that she will ask me to do, because, you know, at the end of it all, there are time constraints. And so the great thing about being on a cloud platform is that she can give me the authority to go in and to do something on the 1028 system, or do something in Google Works for her, or to prepare some documents that can be uploaded and used in the future. And we can work together on that basis. So she's happy and I'm happy, because I can see the benefits that she's deriving from it.
excellent. Well, I think that was very, very clear, very good. Um, Thanks a lot for listening to us. I hope you found that that gave you some ideas as to how things could work in your business. Um, if you want to know more, this is how to contact Iwona, me, or Beata, the Focus Nutrition Plus nutrition therapist. And thanks. And I'll leave you the last word, Iwona.
Ah, yes. Okay. Well, Anne, thank you so much for inviting me to share with you today. As I said earlier, you've been at the start of my journey on this, and it's been very exciting to see how things have been developing and growing. And to anybody listening, I'm very happy to provide a special offer to the first 4 people who are interested in me working with them on 10 to 8, setting it up. I'll offer you 4 hours of my time. I would normally charge £99 for that, and I'll offer it to you for £75. And if you like what I've done, then we can work on something else together from there. So first 4 people, and that would be for taking it forward into 2016. So from January. So that would be work for January, February. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll make sure we make a big noise about that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll share the interview and then we'll tell them about the offer.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, thank you, and I don't know what else to
Talk to
say.
you
Really, it's been a great experience, and I hope we continue to work together. So thank you.
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Yeah. All right. I'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.